Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply. It's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
This is Science for Humans with Dr. Jeff Galini.
Hey, Dr. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm good, Carl. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We got snow here, Dr. Jeff. It's snowing in Louisville right now.
Oh, no.
Yes, and I want to send it back. These snowflakes have little labels that say from Montana, and I appreciate the gesture, but you can keep it.
You know, I always like to send gifts that make you happy, Carl.
Yeah, there you go. I'm happy. I'm going to make snowballs later. Anyway, Kyle from Ohio writes, I love the show. We get so many people who say how much they love Science for Humans, and we talk about very basic stuff. It always amazes me. Kyle from Ohio writes, I love the show. Keep up the great work. I've been hearing you speak about Kre-Alkalyn, but have never tried it. Can you tell me? And he has a list of questions here. What is Kre-Alkalyn, first of all?
Yeah, you know, and Kyle, this is a great question, and I probably get this same question 3, 4, 5 times a day. So I could have put a whole lot of people, but since I'm from Ohio, I thought I'd answer it for Kyle. You know, it's funny because a lot of people, as we are answering their questions, they have replied back and say, hey, you know, thanks for answering my question on the air. So that's what we're about here. So, yeah, what is Kre-Alkalyn? You know, everyone's wondering. A lot of people know, some don't. Basically, it is the world's only stable creatine monohydrate. And what I mean by that is, you know, creatine monohydrate is the only type of creatine that you ever want to use. It's the most researched creatine. The problem is it has a flaw. It is not stable in solution. Once it hits solution, it converts to creatinine, which is a bile waste. It's a toxic. It's something that's dangerous for you. So you don't want to be ingesting that. So basically, I fixed that flaw, and that's what Kre-Alkalyn is. It's a buffered creatine monohydrate backed by several patents, stable, so you get all the benefits without the side effects.
And I think that what people aren't clear about, which I just realized, is that we learned from the early 2000s that creatine monohydrate, when you put it in a fluid, water, juice, anything, it quickly converts to creatinine. And so I just got it. What's happening with your product over the other basic creatine monohydrate products is a large amount of it is turning to creatinine just in the gut itself, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that conversion continues. And, you know, sometimes, you know, when you're talking about conversions and creatinine, you know, people get confused. Well, I have my new analogy is, you know, the cell phones that we use, the old flip phones, they work. They just don't do the same thing that the smartphones do. So again, you got to look at as technology advances, you know, we as cell phone users continually upgrade to the new phones. Now, that doesn't mean the old phone doesn't work. Creatine monohydrate, that doesn't mean it doesn't work. It's still the gold standard, but it has this flaw. So again, you know, the side effects that you see, you know, water retention, bloating, stomach cramps, diarrhea, all the reasons why a lot of you don't use creatine. You might have tried it sometime, but you got those side effects and you didn't like it. So you didn't even have time to achieve the benefits. So Kre-Alkalyn, you get all the benefits without any of those side effects.
Now, we're talking specifically about creatine monohydrate because it is the form of creatine that has been most researched, as you pointed out. And it's also the form of creatine that we know absolutely works. There are lots of other fancy creatines out there. They just don't work as well as creatine monohydrate, do they?
No, and you got to not be deceived. You know, us as consumers, you know, when we see a slick car ad or some new fancy clothing ad, we can kind of tell that, oh, okay, this is a used car salesman, as we used to say. But sometimes when we're looking at these supplement ads, we get sucked in and we think everything they write is true. Well, you got to remember, everything has to start with creatine monohydrate to make any other type of creatine. So creatine HCl, you've got to take creatine monohydrate and you react it with hydrochloric acid. The interesting thing is that you are now lowering the actual amount of creatine in that product. So you're starting with a 99% pure product that is very bioavailable, and you're now going down to 60%, 50, 40, so that it goes in the solution better. So they claim, who cares? That has nothing to do with absorption. So again, creatine HCLs and creatine nitrates and alpha-ketoglutarate and ethyl ester, they do not stack up to creatine monohydrate. So again, I'm firm on that. The evidence is out there. That is the only 99.9% pure, creatine monohydrate. Everything else, again, is kind of watered down. And you still got all the side effects and you still have the instability issues with these other types of creatines.
Which leads me to this next question from Kyle. So, do you have to load? We all know back in the day when creatine was popular, the first 5 days you took 20 grams a day across 4 doses, 5 grams across 4 doses, and you had a loading effect. By the end of the week, you were probably anywhere from a modest 2 pounds to as much as 7 pounds heavier because of the water retention. It pulls water. Now, they say it pulls water into the muscle, but it also pulls water under the skin as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you've used creatine monohydrate, you'll notice you'll take your sock off and you got that line.
Yeah.
Your fingers, your hands, your face are puffy. It's interesting because I talked a few years ago about how this whole loading thing came about. There was one little study back in the 90s that said something about possibly loading being of advantage, but it really wasn't a great study. It was done overseas. It became a marketing ploy because when we first introduced creatine monohydrate, it was $99 a bottle for 100 grams. Now, we told people that you needed to take 10 grams for 10 days.
Right.
So that $99 was burned up in the first 10 days. So this company was able to sell you 2 bottles in a month. It all was a marketing ploy to get you to use more product from the onset.
And let me just say something here because this is an important distinction. And it worked because so many people out there believed that they were putting on 5 and 6 pounds of muscle weight when you could load your pockets with pennies and be 5 pounds heavier. That doesn't do anything for muscle.
And that was the whole key, is that it was a new item. It was expensive. I don't believe anything prior to that was close to $100 a bottle. So it had to work. So yeah, people in 10 days were, man, I gained 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds. I mean, they were going crazy. And of course, your strength goes up and all the good things from creatine. But no, with Kre-Alkalyn, what I discovered is that, we're looking at replenishing those creatine reserves. We aren't looking at doing it today. We're looking at doing it over a period of time. So you can burn up about 1.5 grams every 3 hours. So again, there's no sense in really loading. It didn't make any sense to me. So with Kre-Alkalyn, I was the first one to say, no, you don't need to load. So no, with Kre-Alkalyn, no, you just start at the dose and you maintain that dose. There is no loading required. In some of the studies I did, there was actually less benefits in my subjects that took high amounts of Kre-Alkalyn versus the subjects that started at just the smaller doses.
And this is something that's actually supported by the medical orthodoxy. The doctors that are within the anti-aging community believe in creatine. And Dr. Mark Gordon was on my show years ago, and we happened to touch on creatine. And what he said was, you don't want to load with it. You want to take a couple grams a day so that you get the benefit. Instead of trying to take 20 grams in 5 days, these physicians were saying, take 2 grams a day for a month. By the end of the month, you'll have the same benefits without all of the water retention. You'll get the topping off of creatine in the muscles without all the water retention. So even the medical doctors understood what you discovered.
Well, yeah, and in the beginning, everybody was telling me I was wrong, and I stood by what I knew because, again, this was all research driven. Now that these doctors, are seeing, what we have presented is true, again, most times we as Americans, if it says take one, we take 5. You gotta use amounts that actually are going to be absorbed. There's no sense in wasting and then having all those side effects because, again, even though creatine monohydrate is deemed safe, creatinine is not safe. I mean, you go to the Mayo Clinic and you will see the side effects and you will see what creatinine can cause. I've got a book that I wrote called The Dangers of Creatinine. And when it first got published several years ago, people thought I was saying the dangers of creatine and I was talking about it. So I had to explain, no, this is creatinine. I'm not saying that, because creatine monohydrates converts to creatinine that you're going to die. You need to read the book because creatinine is dangerous. I mean, it causes all type of things. And if your kidneys start to fail, that ailment is irreversible. You can't fix it.
Well, and it's interesting because when you get blood work done in the CBC itself, which is the blood panel of your blood work, they measure creatinine levels as an indicator for not only renal health, but the potential for muscle wasting.
Absolutely. I mean, it is important. Now, remember that, when you ingest creatine, whether it's from a dietary supplement, you get it from your food, even if you didn't ingest it, your body produces creatine because without it, life ceases to exist. When your body burns that creatine, so to say, the bio waste, the exhaust is creatinine. So it is a normal process. Our kidneys and our bodies are designed to get rid of a certain amount of creatinine. That's why we measure that. So again, we don't want to be taking in excess amounts of creatinine because our creatine is converting. We're going to put a bile burden, on our renal systems. And again, you don't want to do that. You just don't want to take the chances. Don't care how healthy you are.
I want to take a break. When we come back, we have 2 more questions from Kyle in Ohio about Kre-Alkalyn. And then I have some things I want to add to the importance of creatine in everybody's life, not just those out there who are lifting weights. We're talking right now with my co-host, Dr. Jeff Galini. This is Science for Humans. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Do you know how to properly use carbohydrates to ignite your performance in the field and in the gym? You will now, thanks to this free book by EFX Sports. The Carb User's Guide for Maximum Performance reveals why omitting carbohydrates from your diet can totally crush your gains. Ever wonder how many grams you need for your specific sport? Not anymore. We give you the critical number you need to dominate your competition. You'll even discover the super carb that's taking the athletic world by storm. You must try it to believe it. Go to getcarbolyn.com/carb guide today and get your copy absolutely free. Once again, it's getkarbolyn.com/CARBGUIDE. Hey, this is Carl. Start your day just like I do with a high-dose lipospheric vitamin C from Live On Labs. You too can benefit from Live On Labs' lipospheric delivery system. No more pills or powders. That's outdated technology. Live On Labs has the world's most efficient vitamin delivery system, period. Learn a lot more today at liveonlabs.com and benefit from their new reduced pricing. That's liveonlabs.com, Livon labs.com. Prime Nutrition is proud to present Max HP, their most scientifically formulated pre-workout supplement to date. Now available in 2 great tasting flavors, tropic fruit and raspberry. Max HP is the most ultra-premium pre-workout available and is made without any artificial colors, flavors, or dye. Increasing blood flow to heighten anabolic activity, Max HP is designed to meet the heightened metabolic needs of high-performance athletes. Visit PrimeNutrition.com and use coupon code SuperhumanRadio to receive 20% off of your entire order. Go to PrimeNutrition.com today.
In today's day and age, it's refreshing to find a company with values that match yours. And it's even more extraordinary when the products they make exceed your expectation in every way. That's what Michael's Naturopathic Programs has done for over 30 years. With more than 50 tried and truthful, high-potency formulas, Michael's Naturopathic Programs give your body what it needs. No more guessing what herb or vitamin, amino acid, or mineral you need. With Michael's, it's all in one bottle. From cardiovascular support, to weight management, to nervous system support, to detox and cleansing, and more. Michael's Naturopathic Programs work. They have to. Michael himself has been giving it to his own family from the very start. You can find Michael's product at your local health food store or go to michaelshealth.com and get your tried and truthful formulation. That's michaelshealth.com.
There are a few products that I believe in the way I believe in Can-C eye drops. I've been using Can-C for 6 months now, and the changes in my vision are nothing short of amazing. My near vision has improved, and I can read small print from 8 inches. My overall vision is clearer, and the glare from oncoming headlights doesn't bother me any longer. Just 1 to 2 drops a day, and the results are visible. You can find Can-C eye drops at wisechoicemedicine.net or call 800-861-4936. That's 800-861-4936. wisechoicemedicine.net. Can-C eye drops. The name says it all.
If you take curcumin, you need to pay attention. The best curcumin on earth is metacurcumin. Metacurcumin is up to 277 times more bioavailable and absorbs over 6 times faster than standard curcumin supplements. Metacurcumin even outperforms those supposedly high-performance curcumin products. There's only one metacurcumin by Rev Genetics. You could save 20% off metacurcumin by clicking the banner ad at superhumanradio.com and use superhuman curcumin at checkout. If you want to help stop inflammation in its tracks, you need metacurcumin by Rev Genetics today.
Superhuman Radio will start in just a moment, but Elisa and I wanted to tell you about something we're really excited about.
One of the top requests we get every month is to do a show about eating the superhuman way on a budget. So many people say it's just impossible. But now we have the answer.
We can now tell you to shop at ThriveMarket.com for all your favorite products. Whether it's organic, paleo, raw, vegan, non-GMO, or any other natural products, you'll find them all at ThriveMarket.com.
ThriveMarket.com has over 3,000 healthy products at 25 to 50% off retail. Go to ThriveMarket.com/Superhuman Radio and get 2 months free membership and 15% off your first order.
Take advantage of this outstanding offer. Thanks to ThriveMarket.com, eating like a superhuman has never been cheaper.
Less expensive.
Cheaper.
Carl, it's less expensive.
Okay, less expensive. Get over to ThriveMarket.com/Superhuman Radio today and start saving big time. Never pay retail again.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. We're ripped and we're ready.
Welcome back to Science for Humans with my co-host, Dr. Jeff Galini. We're talking about Kre-Alkalyn, the only patented buffered creatine monohydrate product in the world. And the only reason why people talk bad about Kre-Alkalyn is not because it doesn't work or that the claims are false. It's because they can't produce it. So what are you going to do? You know?
The old barking dog syndrome.
Yeah. I mean, that's all it is. So anyway, okay. So Kyle wants to know, how should he take it then?
Yeah, so here's the way that you want to take Kre-Alkalyn. Because I can deliver a smaller dose, I initiated the 1.5 grams, and it's kind of funny today. Now all of a sudden, a whole lot of brands are duplicating exactly what I said with no research. But my research said that 1.5 grams a dose was good. So for most people, 2 caps is 1.5 grams. So again, it's very convenient. You can take capsules. I tell you to take it in the morning. First thing, get your creatine stores up, start your day off right, get that whole energy cycle working. If you're a very active person, you work out, you train, you're in sport, then you can take another dose, 1.5 grams, about 30 minutes prior to exercise or training. On off days, just take 1.5 grams. Now, I know a lot of you out there, probably use more. I've heard you use more. Again, depending on your athletic level, again, about every 3.5 hours, you can take another dose. So, you could take more. But that's kind of the recommendation. That's what I do, Carl, and that's what works for most of the people who use Kre-Alkalyn.
And it's important to also note that there's a lot of emerging research about the benefits of creatine monohydrate in the recovery from stroke, in the ability to cause bone remineralization in older women and elderly people. They never talk about 5 grams in a day. They always talk about 1.5 grams servings for therapeutic effects. So what you pioneered is being validated, and you're being vindicated within the medical orthodoxy, because they are finally coming around to seeing that creatine supplementation has some magical benefits, especially for elderly people. But they're not telling. And one of the things that they frown upon is the higher doses. And they always cite it challenges the kidneys, but I don't think they mean the creatine challenges the kidneys. The high spike of creatinine, that supplementing with a large dose is what's going to challenge the kidneys. Am I right about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you got to remember too, my studies are published. I've had stuff on PubMed. So, these doctors in the medical profession are now seeing, what I've been saying since, Kre-Alkalyn first came out and patent pending in 2001, is that this, again, Kre-Alkalyn isn't different. It's creatine monohydrate. We just adjusted it to take care of that stability issue. So when you talk about creatine monohydrate, that pertains to Kre-Alkalyn. But yes, they are finding that out. They're seeing that. They're getting less side effects. But why have less side effects? Again, be side effect free. And the other thing, as you said, creatine is not just for muscle heads or for athletes. It is for everybody. This is what our body utilizes for fuel. In that first 10 to 15 seconds as we're burning glycogen, this creatine is important. It's part of the whole ATP production cycle, which is what is our fuel. So again, whether, you're an elderly couple, you're a business guy, you're a stay-at-home mom, we're active. We need more natural energy. And creatine is what's going to help you. So it should be part of everyone's supplement regimen.
And the military has experimented with creatine for soldiers that had to pull night shifts, and they found out that supplementing with creatine monohydrate allowed them to be more alert. We know that creatine monohydrate affects cognition. There's research being done with it within the Alzheimer's and dementia environment. Research from a couple good studies showed that creatine monohydrate taken post ischemic event, a stroke, actually allowed the brain to function through the healing process and come back with less overall damage. We know now that a recent study was published that shows that taking 1.5 grams of creatine monohydrate a day increases bone mineral density in elderly people, and it does that because it increases muscle strength. And when your muscles get stronger, the bones, they build up to meet the challenge. So, I mean, creatine monohydrate's an amazing thing. And with all the demonic statements about meat today, which carries creatine in it, by the way, people are not getting enough creatine in their diet at all. So this is a convenient supplement. You take 2 caps a day, you're done. Yeah. I take 3 personally because I'm a bigger guy.
I know you do, and you're training heavy. So again, it is safe. It's safe for kids. Now, I wouldn't give it to a kid less than 13. That's kind of about the age limit that I start to introduce it into a kid, about that junior high level. Again, there's no reason why you can't use it. It's something that your body needs. So, like you said, you do really feel well by it. Now, if some of you have never tried creatine at all, or you had a bad experience with a creatine, I'm going to let you try it for free.
Good. That was actually Kyle's last question. He says, how can he get a sample?
I like that because he knows Dr. Jeff is, I love giving out samples.
Supplement Santa. He's Supplement Santa.
Yeah, he kind of put that in bold. Any samples to try? And it was I could just hear his.
Did you see the messages you're getting now through Ask the Scientist? Hey, Dr. Jeff, can you send me some stuff?
Yeah, I busted up at that. Send me some stuff. But again, if you go to buy a car, would you not test drive that car before you buy it?
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. You women, do you not try on every piece of clothing before you buy it? Yeah. So you know what? Before you go buy Kre-Alkalyn, you should try it. You know, I'd love to have you go buy it and take my word for it, but you know what? Don't. I want you to try it to see what it does for you. That's why I give away so many samples. And that's why when you try it, you know, you realize the benefits of it, and then you don't mind investing. I think, you know, you can get this for about $20 a bottle for a 2-month supply. It's worth that investment. Remember, you only got one body, you only got one life. You got to take care of it. Preventive maintenance, you know, keeping the body properly fueled is the most important thing we can do. We can no longer get it from our food sources. Like you said, Carl, you know, most of us don't eat a lot of red meat anymore. And a lot of times, if it isn't, you know, grass-fed, high quality, the creatinine's about gone. And depending on how you cook that, you know, you're burning that and converting that to creatinine just during your cooking process.
Right. And so how can people get a free sample, Dr. Jeff?
Okay, you got a whole lot of ways. You can go to Superhuman Radio, click on Ask the Scientist, and you can just, if you can't remember Kre-Alkalyn, you could put K-R-E, you can put K, and just ask me to send you some samples. I would love to hear, you know, if you like the show, if you have any suggestions, make sure you put your address. If you don't want to do that, you can go to Facebook, follow me at Dr. Jeff Galini. You can message me, and I'll go ahead and get your address off of there. And any other way that you can find me through emails, I will respond.
One other important thing that creatine supplementation does, that the reason everybody should be taking it once they're 40 years old and older, it completely suppresses homocysteine production. Because homocysteine is produced as a byproduct of the body's production of creatine. So if you supplement with creatine, your body doesn't have to produce creatine or as much, and you have less homocysteine. Homocysteine is an independent marker of heart disease risk. I just thought of this because I just looked at somebody's blood work this morning, and they had high homocysteine levels, and I thought I should have recommended Kre-Alkalyn to them, and I will.
Yes. And Kyle, you owe me taking a picture in a Kre-Alkalyn shirt and posting it so I can show everybody who you are.
That sounds great. Dr. Jeff, as always, great stuff, brother.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Talk